Exodus, stage left.
You two get out of here. Scram. It's time for my dancing girls. Scramming was no problem. We headed out to the portico, but stopped there, afraid to leave the palace without an escort. Suhad said to wait for the guy with the gold skirt, but after 10 minutes I was ready to make a break for it. That's when this other guy came out and stood looking out at the plaza with a faraway look on his face. He looked like a major player, very fancy getup, but there was something about him. I couldn't put my finger on it. High forehead, angled features, pretty light complexion too. I'd seen that face somewhere before. Was it in an old movie back in the 20th century? The name was Charles. Charles popped into my mind. Charles Manson? No, he was a psychotic killer. Charles Lindbergh? No, not him.
But now Suhad drew close and whispered to me.
That is the man of whom I spoke. You can see who he is now. He is a prince of all Egypt, a son of Queen Tuya, as is Ramses.
That's when it hit me. Now I remembered why I'd been sent to ancient Egypt. It wasn't about Ramses, it was about this guy. This was the young Moses in front of me, the founder of Judaism as we know it. You see, it's like this. Back in the 26th century, our alien overlords, the Grolnothians, wanted more data on the history of humanity and the effects of religion. What was with all the violence, they wondered? The Crusades and the religious wars in Europe and India and the Aztecs and, well, just about everywhere. No wonder I'd repressed the memory. This was too big for anyone.
Would you like me to introduce you?
Suhad finally asked. Sure, why not? I said, trying to appear casual. Moses seemed startled when we walked over, then, recognizing Suhad, he accepted her introduction of me. So, Limu, he said, letting out a chuckle, you are the creator of Mr. Big. That was quite a coup. You must be likable, and certainly fortunate. But you must realize now that the king's spies are everywhere. The sound of his Egyptian sounded unusual even to my novice ears. I couldn't help asking. The sound of your Egyptian sounds unusual, my lord. May I ask of its origins? Certainly. In my youth, I wandered into the great northern wilderness and sojourned there for several years. I discovered an island there with the most charming race of people who served me a hot brown drink and fish with potatoes. Their elegant ways of speech influenced me to this day. Okay, I understand, great prince, I said. And, well, thank you for your friendly greeting after our awkward exit from the imperial presence. I've experienced such things before. How can you satisfy the expectations of someone with supreme power? He is, after all, a god and knows all things. I sensed something mocking, even sardonic in his tone. I liked that.
What, may I ask, interests you most in this life, great prince? A deep question, certainly. I take little pride in my military achievements. The shedding of Ethiopian blood by my soldiers only saddened me. These days I often passed my time with common people, not courtiers. Pardon my honesty, Suhad. You are different from most. Your heart is open and compassionate. Compassion is not a virtue much praised in palaces.
That is an understatement.
Me, I am new to Pi-Ramses, I said. I know nothing of the common people. Moses brightened. Then you will come with me now. Let us walk the streets and feel the pulse of Egypt's capital together. He had already taken my arm in a friendly, supremely confident way. Come, Suhad, please join us. Let us leave this place. I had mixed feelings, knowing what happened to people who followed Moses around, but I figured he had more like a day tour in mind than a 40-year march, so I went for it. Plus, we had the escort that we needed to get out of the palace, and it was Moses himself. Imagine, I was walking around with the prophet Moses. This is why I got into this business. Who wants to sit around in an office all day when you can tour an ancient Egyptian city with Moses? As long as he stays away from the desert, I thought, what could go wrong? And talk about transportation. We get outside the gates, and here's a completely enclosed litter the size of 2 limos. A limo for a limo, I thought. He's got 8 big guys carrying the thing. Inside, a couple of compartments, dark and cool, with cushions everywhere. Moses gave the lead bearer instructions, then excused himself and ducked into the second room. Suhad and I sat down as the thing took off down the boulevard, but I was not ready for Suhad turning to me with a longing look, the kind of look a man knows is asking for a kiss, a dramatic and passionate one. It wasn't the first time this has happened to me, but it was the first time inside the chariot of a major biblical figure. But what if our host came back to see us embracing and started throwing stone tablets around? You never know with a guy like Moses. So I pretended not to notice her passionate look. When Moses did return, he was wearing what looked like common peasant clothing and had a change of attire for us too. Where we are going, we do not wish to attract attention, he explained, gesturing for Suhad to retire into the other room with a plain linen robe. Your own clothes will be safe here, and you may reclaim them after our little tour. Soon we were both clothed anonymously in the most ordinary manner. After a ride of 30 minutes, the litter stopped and we stepped out into the dazzling sunshine. A narrow street extended to one side, and Moses immediately strode down it, forcing us to catch up with him. He went unrecognized, his cloak hiding most of his features. The alleyway was filled with merchants selling fish, fruit, spices, and various handcrafted items, and we found him examining some ripe figs. How much for a basket? He asked the old merchant who stood behind his stand. Well, these are the best figs in all Pi-Ramses, my friend. One bite and you will find the happiness you've longed for all your life. Another bite and you may rise up into the heavens and dance with Amun-Ra himself. Such a fig. Who can put a price on it? You can, of course. They're yours. Really? Yet, in a way, one might say I am theirs. I must raise them, serve them, and I could not live without their blessings, the nourishment they give, the joy they extend to my customers. They possess me. I am theirs. They must decide their price, not me. Why don't you, he smiled mischievously, make them an offer? Moses reached a hand in a pocket of his tunic. I have a few silver Deben rings in here. How about one of them for a basketful of these beautiful figs? The man looked shocked. A silver Deben? He leaned down as if to communicate with the figs. Did you hear that, my friends? What say you? He pretended to listen to their response, then raised his head. They cannot accept, kind sir. It is too much. But they will gladly exchange 2 basketfuls for such a ring. A deal it is, Moses said, and they made the exchange. Moses handed the figs to me, and the 3 of us continued down the narrow, crowded street. Life is terribly hard for these people, but they treat each other fairly and pray fervently to the strangest of gods, one they cannot see. He is not a bird or the sun or the river. I don't know what he is supposed to be. And he seems powerless to help them. They sweat in the brick pits or waste away hauling great stones to build our temples. His words had been directed mainly towards Suhad. There was a strange expression on her face as she looked at Moses. I was hoping she wasn't going to turn him into a mummy. But finally Moses stopped in mid-stride and turned to her. All right already, enough. Do you think I cannot see in your eyes what you think, Suhad? The rumors that I am kinsman to these people, the Jews. All right, I shall tell you the truth. I am certain it is true. The story about me being picked out of the river, of my being the child of slaves? It's true. In fact, I have found the basket in which the queen found me. She kept it all these years. I took it to the court alchemist, who examined it closely and found remnants of gefilte fish and cream cheese among its strands. These foods are popular among the Hebrews. I now enjoy them myself in secret with a nice cup of tea in a glass. It must be that I am one of them. And so I spend time at their encampments at Goshen. I asked Pharaoh to respect their holy days, and he did. But all this is why I have enemies in court. Suhad's eyes were glowing. That you can tell us this openly only makes me admire you more, great prince. You bear in your heart a kindness never seen in court. I would that more were like you. Of course, we shall never speak of this to others. Is that not right, Limu? My lips are sealed, I said. Moses sighed. Thank you, my friends. Of course, I'm mainly Egyptian. I'm not really one of these unfortunates. I have been given another destiny. But this question of my origin clouds my vision, and I often wonder what my future may hold. But come, let us wander farther through these quarters.